Hello, my little goblins. We're back at it again, and this time we are playing PURRELY. And I'm pretty happy that this deck came out. I like decks that can change up the meta because this is definitely going to be a meta threat. The only main card that we did not get is the purple PURRELY card. But other than that, we got pretty much everything else. But let's go over the deck real quick. Pretty much we're running 42 cards. Mainly because I found it kind of hard to not include certain, I could have technically not included Call By, but I feel like you kind of need it with how many maxis there are. And you guys might be saying, I've been looking at tournament decks, why are they playing Book of Moon and all this other? Well, they're playing those because Kashtira is very prevalent in the meta, and those cards are very good against Cash. So we don't need to play them. But I will say Nibiru is actually a very good card right now. So we are playing one as a threat from the Maxis, and we're also playing one for a cross out. So it kind of works out pretty good. We're running imperms for hand traps. Pretty much this deck, you run a good amount of hand traps, and then your spells your cards all do something. These cards are extremely interactive, and they are just downright oppressive once you get the ball rolling. So we're going to get into some games. You guys are going to see pretty much how the deck is played. I'll stop throughout the video to explain certain things I'm doing if they look a little confusing, but you guys will pretty much get it by the end of the video. And then after all the games, we're going to do the recap to say how the deck performed and all that other stuff. All right, let's get to it. Alrighty, we're here with game number 1, and our hand is already looking a bit scrumptious, especially with this Delicious Memory. Also, Delicious Memory is limited to 1 in the TCG. It's unlimited here, which is kind of crazy. So if you guys really wanted to play 3 plumps, I definitely would say it's not bad to run 3. In the TCG, people just run 1 because there's only 1 memory. Delicious. So, we're going to go into Stay Pearly Street. We got the trap. You always want to make sure you get trap because trap is going to allow you to do some cool plays. There are some cases where you do not go trap. And I think sometimes we do see that here. It's mainly if you don't open enough cards. But here we go into Plump. The reason why Plump is so strong, this card has so many good effects on it. First effect, you get to add 2 spell and traps in the graveyards attached to the material, which gets you to your 5 material faster. Then second effect, 3 times per turn, you can, when you activate a Pearly Quick Play spell, you can attach that card to this card, and then you can banish 1 monster on the field, on any field. So both effects are really strong, but the first effect is definitely the pride and joy of this. I'm going to add these cards to the card. And now we're going to go into Robin. So if you guys don't know why he's playing Ursurect, I know this is kind of troll, but this is climbing from Diamond. And this is pretty early in the season, so I mean, not much you can do about it. We're just going to Robina activate on the Mectanius. And he's going to flip my card down. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is very important. You typically, I'm not going to say all the time, but if you can get 3 Sleepy Memories on a fucking card, it is insane. So what this card does, it's not once per turn, right? So on the standby phase, you get to draw 1 card, your opponent's standby phase. And if you have 3, so that means you get to draw 3 cards on your opponent's standby. And then if you activate Yeep on your opponent's standby, you can go into Nior, and then on top of that, you can activate these cards 3 times again. So technically, this combo we just did allows us to draw 6 cards on our opponent's standby phase. And we're playing a ton of hand traps, so you can see how annoying that is. So, and on top of that, we're going to have a bunch of spins too. So, our opponent activates Max C. We're not going to activate it now because we want to do the standby trick. So we're going to add this. So this is at 6 material. So Noir is going to come in with 7 material. Here's draw 1, draw 2, draw 3, and then we activate Yeep, and we're going to go draw 3 again. And my opponent concedes because they're like, holy moly, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And I'm like, you better not. My slutty little cats are going to deal with you. Hello, we're here with game number 2 against Kisso, and we're going to max see his opener. And he's playing Pearly. So I'm going to say this right now, going first in the Pearly Mirror is a massive advantage. And the reason why is you pretty much get to do whatever you want. I think the right play was to Ash his, is definitely to Ash his Purrely. But in my mind, I'm not even kidding you, I was really hoping my opponent would, I was really hoping they would go into, they would activate the trap in the standby phase to go into that. This card, if he keeps Plump Up and uses it correctly, I am absolutely fucked. And the reason why is he can suck up my Purrely cards. And these cards aren't like quick plays in the graveyard, so I'm like actually fucked if he just plays this correctly. So I end up drawing into Nibiru. So he doesn't activate, so now I have to activate this, which is really annoying. He activates Effect Veiler. Okay, cool. On top of activating Effect Veiler, he activates Happy Memory. And I honestly think he misplayed this horribly. So the reason why I think he misplayed this horribly is because I think he wanted to activate the Banish effect on this, but if he did that, I would dodge the Effect Veiler, so I think he needed to Effect Veiler, and then after that resolves, then he does it to banish my Purrely off the board. But since he misplayed, it's lucky me. So now he's going to slip up the spells. And I'm going to tell you this right now. This is a massive misplay by him because he knows I have to play more spells. Right? I can't do anything with this Purrely. He knows I'm going to have to play more spells. So, legitimately, he just waits for me to play another card and then he just slips up that card. So, he already fucked up twice here. So, this is the only reason why I'm going to be able to actually do anything here. So, here he hits Trap, or actually hits, I guess, my friends. Even better for him. Now he's going to activate the Trap. And he has 5 materials, so he's going to have 2 spin activations. We activate Delicious. And we're going to get this card. And we get lucky. We do hit off of this. We desperately need to be... Every time I summon this card, I need a hit. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to add Delicious to hand. And, or it was either Delicious or Pretty. Both of them are fine. This is going to force my opponent to use this. Otherwise, he won't use it. Because he doesn't want me getting Delicious Memory. And I'm going to be real with you. I think he should be more afraid of Pretty Memory. I actually just wanted Pretty Memory. Because if I go into Pretty Memory, it lets you go into this card right here. And this card I can negate him. Because once he uses the effect once, he won't have 5 materials. So he's not unaffected by activate effects anymore. So now we hit again off of this. Which is huge. So we hit Pretty Memory, we activate, and he has to spin again. So there's the next spin we get. So now we activate Pretty Memory. Boom. Here's another one. So if you're wondering why I didn't go second Noir and then try and activate Noir to do shit here, I don't know. I'm an idiot. I think ideally, because I didn't use the secondary effect on this, I think ideally in this situation you do want to go Noir. I end up not doing that, and I end up just going this because I knew for a fact I was going into Assembly, which I was pretty much going to build a 4 material Zeus. But if I did the Noir play, right, I could have technically built probably like a 6 plus material, probably like a 6 material Zeus, because I would have added I would have gotten 2 cards on it, and then suck up another 2 cards. It's 5 material, and then go into Downerd, and then into that. So that, yeah, it would have been 6 material Z's, which probably would have been just GG. I says 1 to time limit, but I'm pretty sure I would have won that regardless. Hello, we're here at game number 3, and our hand again is looking pretty scrumptious. Our opponent is playing. They do actually brick pretty hard here. I know it doesn't seem like it. But he grabs Luster Dragon, and his only play is to summon Luster Dragon. So if your opponent is playing Draco Slayer, right, and this is their play, they 100% have nothing in hand. It's all hand traps and shit or something. Like, he's overplaying on hand traps and, like, cards like Kashtira or Bishiels and shit like that. Because this is not what you want to be seeing. This is not what you want to be doing if you're playing this deck. So, I just imperm this. Seemed like a very good imperm for me. And he ends up playing a card in passing. So again, this is a kind of a bad play. I didn't think he was playing that many hand traps, so I play the Purrely first, the purple one. Ideally, I probably should just play this one first, because he probably was just going to imperm shot whatever immediately. And then I could use Sleepy to go into this card. Yeah, so that was a misplay. I also thought this could have been like call by, so I wasn't really thinking that it was his own imperm. But either way, I think probably should just bait it out just in case he has imperm, you know? So now we're going to activate Sleepy. We got Pink on board. Pink is going to look at top 3. We hit. This Pink actually hits a lot because we're running so many of the spells. So you go into Princess Sprite. You hit him. So I do this because I don't want to waste any more of these memory cards. I want to save them for next turn. My opponent already only has 3 cards in hand. So like a 4 material Zeus is actually very devastating. If you guys don't know Purrely in the TCG, Zeus is not limited, so you can play like people usually play 2 Zeuses. So the card's pretty devastating. He goes to battle. I just get rid of Fenrir, and he's pretty much fucked. It's pretty GG. Here's Purrely. We add my friend Purrely with this. We're looking at OTK at this point. We're not looking for trap. And here we go. Here's Maxi. I tactically could have dodged that, but he's dude. How many hand traps are you playing in this? Like, I feel like I shouldn't be that worried. Here is Bestial again. This is completely fine. We add a card. We're gonna go into Happy. So there's Happiness. We're gonna activate Pretty Memory, then activate. Remember, this card banishes until end phase, and then we're gonna slip up some more cards. And technically, if I didn't have enough damage, I could have gone into X-Purrely Happiness. The only reason I didn't is because if he summons another monster, I want to make sure I can get rid of it. And we have exactly full, so GG. Hello, this is game number 4, and our hand is looking pretty scrumptious, and our hand is actually insane. So he's playing Exorcisters. Nibiru absolutely cucks this deck hardcore. So yeah, he's just gonna summon a bunch of cards. Cast Patel. Boom. The only reason I'm showing this game, even though Nibiru does blow him out quite a bit, is he does have plays outside of this. So we're gonna end up going with Purrely. He activates Imperm. So he does Imperm me, which is really annoying. And then I'm gonna activate my friend Purrely. I'm gonna activate it. Ashes me. Now the floodgates are kind of open. He doesn't really have much more other than that. And then, by the way, the nice thing about the spells is they do not send for cost. So, like, they have to negate this card or deal with it before you discard. So if he has Ash, you can. It works kind of like Foxy Tune. It sends for effect. So here we go. Here's Plump. Plump is going to slurp up some cards. Get kind of massive. Then we're going to slurp up Happy Memory. We're going to suck up one of his cards. And we're at 6 material, 7 material. And then Relinquish Enema is going to slurp up his token. We don't get attack because tokens don't have attack. But, yep, it's GG. We had over lethal because every time this card attacks your opponent, you deal 1500 damage. So that's the thing that's crazy is there's one of the thing it's happiness that lets you have extra attacks on monsters. So if your opponent has like 3 or 4 monsters on the field, you technically can deal like 6k damage just from attacking all 4 of those monsters with the effect, which is hilarious. All right, we're here with game number 5. We have one more game after this, and the last game we have is the best game, I think, in my opinion. It's really showcases the deck as well as possible. As you see, our hand is bricked up. Like we had no spells in hand, but we did have the Purrely monster. So we're gonna make the best we can here. We end up summoning Purrely. So in this case, you can't search Trap because like what are you going into, right? So in this case, we search my friend Purrely to actually start having some plays. We hit Delicious, which is lucky. And then we hit again. So now we go into Plump. Plump is going, and then we go into Robin. So this is actually really nice. So right here, we're gonna have 3 material, right? 3 material, have pretty. It's also gonna have delicious, and we're gonna have probably happy memory. So this is a banish. This is a temporary banish, monster negate, and then 2 special bounces plus maxi. So that's actually a lot of interruption for like our hand being bricked as fuck, right? So also, I'm pretty sure this card spins too because we have pretty memory. Yeah, so once per turn you can send 1 other monster. Yeah, you can, so this is also a spin. So we're also going to banish this, and our opponent is just going to concede because they can't do it. They're playing Sprite, so we just kept them off their summon. I mean, our B field was like meant to annihilate Sprite, and we just got kind of lucky. It kind of played out like that, but our field was like crazy. All right, the last game, and we are on the draw. We were gonna maxi the draw phase, and I'm gonna tell you right now, maxi does not play a role in this game because it plays a role for them. But they dodge Maxi completely, and they're able to play around it completely if they're playing Runic Sprite. So he just uses Jet to grab another starter. And Runic Fountain. So their opener was actually insane because it dodged my Maxi. So I go down 1 card, and it did not hinder them whatsoever because they're still able to get a negate, technically, with the starter. I do end up drawing Ash, which does help against starter. But I'm going to activate Purrely. He's going to activate starter. I'm going to Ash this because I desperately need to. Purrely is going to search for either Street or Sleepy. I wanted to get Street because I didn't want, if he had Freezing Curse, I didn't want him negating these cards. So this makes it so your opponent cannot target Purrely cards with card effects. The turn, so we're going to summon Purrely. Maxi. Purrely. Again, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have special summoned this Purrely first. Or normal summon this, special summon this. Because technically, this only works on monsters that are special summoned. So the turn they are special summoned. So, kind of annoying. But it all works out. He doesn't end up having it, so kind of doing what we need to do. We got a trap. But yeah, so Plump annihilates Runic, and Runic's a top tier deck. Because Plump gets to slurp up all their fucking spells. So now I have 2 of the Runic spells. I'm going to go use this to go into Happiness. And dude, Happiness annihilates them too. So both these cards, if you're able to get this combo off, you're going to have a really fun time against this deck. And remember, he Maxi'd me. So we attack, Happiness effect activates, we add the spell to hand, and now we get to attack again. He's going to chain with Runic Fountain. I get to activate. So what early Purrely Happiness, his effect, you know how this one banishes monsters? This one gets to bounce spell and trap. So I get to bounce his Runic Fountain here. So he doesn't get to draw. And then we get to draw. And since I attacked 2 times, each time I attack and destroy a monster, or each time I battled, I get to add 1 Purrely monster from my deck to the hand. So it pretty much +2 off that. It's a pot of greed, if not better, because I get to search exactly what I want. So I could have technically used Happiness to attack again, but if he had evenly matched, I drew off of Max C. I didn't want to give him a free evenly. So we're going to activate Plump. We're going to slurp up 2 more cards. At a massive 7 right now. I technically probably should have used this to draw an extra card off a Noir. For some reason, I thought I might have needed the Monster Banish effect. So I kind of wanted to hold off on it. But I realize now that I needed to use Happiness more often. So we go into Purrely. There goes triple attack. He's gonna draw 2 cards. There's goes Noir. Noir is unaffected, can't be targeted or anything. I'm just gonna spin this. Remember the turn the card is special summon, they cannot target it, right? So even if Nar drops below, I'm not afraid of freezing curse or anything like that. He does have flashing fire. He tries to kill flashing fire by happy memory this. So it's similar to like the runic slumber spell, which is hilarious. So we're gonna spin this card too. Bye bye. He sets a card. We're gonna spin that too. Bye bye. And we're gonna add another sleeping. I honestly don't really. Should have added the sleeping, but it really doesn't matter because the game's pretty much over. He's just gonna GG it. Pretty much, he was dead on board anyway. So, but other than that, let's go into the recap and talk about how the deck did. Hello and welcome to the recap. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out greatly. I wake up early, ass crack of dawn to make this video to make sure I get some good games for you guys. So yeah, help me out here. Also join our Discord. The link's down below. The tournaments are also always litty. And this week's tournament is a pretty cool one, so check it out. So let's talk about the deck. Do I think the deck's good? Do I think... first of all, how did we do climbing? We went from Diamond 3 with 5 wins needed left to move up. So Diamond 3, 0 wins, to Master 5. We did that in like a 3-hour span. I would say it was pretty damn quick. I literally lost 3 games the entire time I played. I lost 3 games. I think what I lost to too was early on when I was playing the deck, because I was misplaying. So when I was playing the deck in the beginning, I was misplaying because I misunderstood some of the abilities or some of the interactions. So that's the only reason why we were losing early on. But after playing it for a little bit, we won like every single game. Deck was extremely strong. It's really annoying to deal with. If you're able to draw 6 too, your opponent just almost insta-scoops every time. It's happened. I did it twice, and both times they scooped immediately. Even drawing 4 cards off this, so you get two sleeping memories with the trap, like even that's like 8s, right? Because look at the cards you're drawing into. You're drawing into Max C's, you're drawing into Ashes. You can argue that maybe these imperms maybe replace it with Effect Failure, because Effect Failure is better to draw off of draw. When you're drawing, it's better to draw Effect Failure over imperm because you can't use imperm anyway. So maybe that's a replacement we could look at. Maybe we replace the imperms, or replace at least one imperm for an Effect Failure. Or maybe we look for some other hand traps we could play. I don't know. I thought the deck's ratios and stuff was really, really good. If you guys were wondering if you should build this exact list, I mean, the exact list felt really good, but if you want to tighten it up to 40 cards, you guys can look at trying to make some cuts somewhere. You can argue that maybe you don't need 2 traps. I personally kind of like 2 traps, but maybe 1 trap is the way to go. I know most decks are running 1 trap, but I notice sometimes you can't grab the trap with our card here. And we don't have the PURRELY card either, the purple one, which kind of stinks. But for the most part, I mean, this deck felt really, really good, right? I would say this is going to be a top tier deck. Am I going to bet tier 1? I think this is probably going to be a tier 1 deck. It's only missing like 1 card. Like, if it's not tier 1, I'm going to be very surprised. Let me just say that. If this is not a tier 1 deck, I'm going to be very surprised. Because think about it. Everything besides Dragon Link has been completely neutered out of the meta. And this deck is completely full power. If not super full power, because we have 3 delicious memories. So, like, they didn't preemptively hit any card in this deck. So, I'm thinking it's going to be an extremely powerful deck. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to put this deck at a 9. Maybe, yeah, probably like a 9. Maybe even higher. Deck's really, really good, though. Spending your gems on this, or your material, is not going to be a waste of money. This is, I'm going to say this right now, the deck's actually relatively cheap, too. Which, surprise, surprise. I mean, it doesn't sound that cheap, but, like, we're talking about, like, pretty much the entire archetype's out besides, like, 1 card that you need, right? And you just need 3, 6 URs, 6, 8. nine URs in archetype URs, which sounds super expensive, but happiness, technically, you don't have to play this card. Technically. You technically, I like playing this card because it's a good OTK card. Like, this card lets you OTK super easily, and I like the fact it's a dark ruler on the board, which is pretty nice. But you technically don't, if you don't want to have happiness, you technically don't need to have happiness. But you should want happiness in your life. So I feel like the deck is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's not super self-explanatory, but I'm hoping you watching the video, you kind of understood what to do for the most part. Most of the time, you want Delicious Memory because Plump is the best card to go into 90% or like 80% of the time. Sometimes you want to go Beauty because Beauty is a negate. It's a monster negate. If you read this card's effect, it says you can target one effect monster, negate its effect. Okay, quick effect. And then the other one lets you change battle positions, which is not the greatest. This card, obviously, you've seen how good it was against certain matchups. Plump's effect is just like the best for scaling. So if you're trying to scale into a massive noir, you need to go Plump. Or if you're massive happiness, you need to go Plump. But if you got kind of cut and you didn't open the correct cards, right, you might probably need to go Beauty, right? So that's pretty much that. If you guys were wondering if Robin came into play that much, but Robin was nuts. Robin was actually really, really good in the deck. So yeah, I definitely recommend. But yeah, if you want to bump up Plump to 3, I actually would even hate on that. Like, if you end up removing happiness, bumping up Plump to 3 is not the worst thing in the world. Because it is kind of annoying when you do play against Kashtira or play against people, or just because a lot of people are just playing Unicorn in their deck. Unicorn is very annoying to deal with because if they know how to beat you, a lot of times they're going to target the Plumps in your deck. The other good thing is the Trap card. The Trap card does actually let you recycle Plump in the graveyard. So we have 2 traps. So we could technically recycle it twice. So I don't know. Something to think about. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I'm probably going to do Makenko next. But let me know. Alright, goodbye.